started yet.
Okay,
So
You're good.
thanks.
Harish
Yes.
will, yeah,
Right.
we'll do a 5-second countdown and then Harish will tell you when it's your, do you need the screen sharing?
I don't.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just go and mute till it's my turn.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Ally. Okay, and then Harish, are you going to share the information on participating in today's meeting?
Oh, I thought you were going to do it.
Oh,
Should I? Oh, let me do it this time.
However you want.
All right, I'll do it this time.
Okay. We had just left it kind of up in the air about who was doing it. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll do a 5-second countdown. Thank you. So 5, 4, 3, except sorry, 1 second. I'm going to start recording it. Remember, this is
Recording in progress.
meeting. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go.
You had the first three numbers right.
Good afternoon. It is now 4:07 p.m. on the 25th of January, 2024. The meeting of the Library Board of Trustees is now called to order. We'll start with the roll call.
Trustee Petty,
Here.
Vice Chair Silvera,
Here.
Trustee Felguth,
Here.
Trustee Moreau,
Here.
and Chair Joshi.
Here. Next, I'll announce the public comment procedure. Information on participating in today's meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is on this evening meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.org. We ask attendees to keep phones and devices muted. Thank you for participating in your city government. Next on the agenda, we have a presentation. Receive update on Monterey Public Library Friends and Foundation activities, not a project under whatever. Okay, it is my pleasure to welcome Ali Ladio. She's been here before and she offered to come and give us an update, and I'm very glad to welcome her. Ali, welcome.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you having me. As usual, it's nice to just come and say hello on behalf of the Friends and Foundation. As always, thank you so much for all of your support on all of our endeavors. It's a nice moment to say hello because my first update will be on our MC Gives campaign that rounded up at the end of the month, which, you know, we might have heard a little bit from Tula and or Brian, but that was an exciting update in our most recent board meeting that the MC Gives campaign ended up in over $63,000 fundraised. And it is always a really meaningful push for fundraising for the Friends and Foundation. So we have already had a fund development meeting since then and just started some great strategic conversations around how to best capitalize on that energy and continue to use the MC Gives as a launch pad for fundraising moving forward. So thanks to everyone who supported it and helped us get the word out about that. It's exciting. And thank you, Brian, for helping put together a great big idea for how those funds will be used. We're excited to see how that all shakes out. We'll also, of course, have our upcoming biggest fundraising event of the year, the Chocolate and Wine, which is scheduled for Saturday, February 24th, 2024. Like last year, it'll be held at 4 to 7 p.m. We liked the timing of that last year, and we heard great feedback from people who attended. Hopefully those of you that were there feel the same. It's a nice time of day, sort of that happy hour time where people can still go out after if they want to, and can get there before the sun goes down. So we really were happy with how it went last year, and we're going to mostly keep things in a similar model. I know a lot of you have been involved in that event for many years past, so thank you for that support. And we're just trying to find a couple of those little things to update and change as we continue to grow our support and our community. So a couple of examples of new areas we're trying this year. We have some local wonderful bakeries that have agreed to help provide food and partner by offering some sweets. So we've done great over the years with home bakers, and we're not doing fully away with that, but we have Parker Lusso and Alta Bakery and Ad Astra, Aubergine, the chef and baker from Aubergine, and a few others as well, planning to come together to help provide their very special sweet treats. So that's one exciting new thing. And what I love about that is not only does that make the event more appealing, we're going to be using that in our promotions, but it's also, the more of these well-known establishments that help partner with us on this, of course, these days with social media and their email lists, they're communicating and they want it to be known that they're supporting an organization like us. And it really just helps us with the PR of what we do as well, which hopefully will come back in the form of new friends, new donors, all of the above. So really excited about that and just building those partnerships. I know that's been a goal for a while. Right now, we're in the thick of it with selling ticket sales. Last year being kind of our first year coming out of COVID, we were just kind of careful about how many ticket sales we were even really pushing for. We wanted to make sure not to fill the space too much. We ended up having, I think, just under 200 that had bought tickets last year. This year, we feel pretty confident with having a higher goal than that. So we're doing an even bigger push to really try to not be jam-packed in there by any means, but just really make sure we're utilizing the space and trying to get more people to come. More ticket sales, more income, more friends and potential donors. So we're excited about that. And we're also in the thick of our outreach for our acquisitions of items that will be used for the auction. Last year, we did the silent auction as well as online auction, which went really well. And we're hoping to do that this year as well. And so as you all know, that takes a lot of time and energy going out there to restaurants and establishments to gather up the generous donations that we'll be using for those fundraising initiatives. So that said, here's my little appeal for support. Of course, those of you that have helped in the past, thank you. If anyone in your daily going-ons wants to help at a restaurant or an establishment that you frequent and help us make that call for acquisitions and gift certificates, please feel free to let us know. We can give you that letter and that those outreach materials, because it's really all hands on ship for that project. So please let us know. And if you there's a lot of new businesses that are popping up too. So in addition to going out to our previous supporters, please feel free to let us know if there's anything you can think of that might be a new business in town or something that we haven't thought of yet. So thank you in advance for that. I also know that this generous group, as well as the Friends and Foundation Board, has a tradition of helping to provide the Prosecco or bubbly that we use to help introduce folks to the event. So we love that tradition, and thanks already to those of you that have made that donation. And if you are interested in doing so again this year, we'd be greatly appreciative. Let's see. So I think I went through the MC Gives and the event. The other pieces just kind of small, but we are looking at another potential event this spring that we might do, something a little new. A friend of the library, Sam, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Butry, is interested in potentially helping to host a trivia night or of some sort, something that could be another fundraiser. And so we're just at the very beginning stages of planning that, but thanks to Brian for helping us make that connection. We think something kind of small and new to follow up on chocolate and wine could be fun and bring in a new audience too. So we're looking into that. We're also in conversations about what the future holds for the used book program. So this is just a preview and no decisions have been made, but as some of you may know, we're really just in a little bit of a crossroads where we're trying to figure out whether we want a permanent location where we can sell the used books at, or whether we're in a phase where we're going to phase out of the used book program in some way, because we're really the space and the way it's currently working is probably not going to work forever. So this is just a preliminary heads up that we're in the middle of these conversations. We'll of course keep you all in the loop and continue, to keep you and keep in touch with you as that develops. I think that covers the big things that I wanted to update you all on. And I'd love to make sure that there's time if anyone has any questions as well. And then I'll let you get on with the rest of your busy agenda.
Questions from the board? Bob Petty is on.
Yeah. Hi, Ally. I have two questions about the chocolate and wine. One, the quick answer, it will be a quick question. You mentioned that there were just under 200 people who bought tickets last year. And this year you were going to have a limit, but shoot for more than 200. What is that number? What's the maximum number of tickets that you're looking to sell?
I think we feel comfortable with a max of like 300. And so that's sort of our goal. I'd be really happy if we hit 250 and just get a little bit more than what we did last year.
Yes, got it. That's a good idea, I think. And my second question, it may take a little bit more than a quick answer, but I'm interested. When you were talking about the treats, the cookies and the fudge and the cupcakes and the cake and all of that, you said that you had arranged with a number of local businesses to, quote, help with that this year. And then you said you are not doing away with volunteers unaffiliated with those businesses in eats. Yet I got an email a week or so ago that made me feel like the contributions from, let's call them regular people and supporters, bringing in their
our citizen bakers, we say. Yeah, we call them our citizen bakers, I think has been what they're dubbed.
It made me feel like you were totally abandoning the idea of citizen bakers in favor of getting a lot of corporate businesses to supply the eats. And I guess I need some clarification.
Yeah, I don't know about that email that you got. So I'm glad to hear that you to hear about that, because at this point we're still at this well, I'll describe more what I'm imagining with the bakers first. So it'll look similar to how the wine and beer is currently displayed, where they're hosting their little tasting tables and people can go up. So that way, you could go up and get a treat from a couple of different places and they're able to showcase and you can say hi to the baker and move around the event like that. So that's how we're imagining that working. We haven't talked in detail yet with the bakers, and we need to make with the bakeries and chefs. We want to make sure that we have a total understanding of what we will get from them in terms of quantity and what it'll look like. The reason I said we're not doing away completely with citizen bakers is we don't know yet if we can have the full dessert quantity that we want from the bakeries yet. So I actually wasn't aware that we had communicated that with our bakers yet. So I appreciate you letting me know, because that's good to know. But one thing that has come up is that there's plenty of opportunities to work with our citizen bakers on our other things we do, such as our book sales and other events. So one thing that's come up is, even if we don't need that help for this event, we would love to make sure there's a continuing process of using that volunteer support, because it's much appreciated. Right. I hope that helps a little, but I know I didn't fully answer you because I didn't know about that email you said.
Not only is it much appreciated, but I mean, the way I interpreted the email, I was very disappointed, because one of the neat things about this event, and I've been on the board a long time and supported. Well, I was on the board of the Friends for a while too. So I've been doing stuff at the Chocolate and Wine for many, many years. And one of the nice things was walking up to a table with this array of treats. And you say, oh, wow, this is a great chocolate chip cookie. And you were there sort of serving and replenishing the tray. You'd say, oh, that's Francesca. She's right over there. She's right. Made those. And I could go over there and tell her how much I liked it. And the people were actually there. But I think you're at least knowing how the wine pourers from the various vintners and the people from the commercial breweries locally who showed up to pour the beer, they're not the makers of those products at all. They are hired hands who are sitting there, sometimes just messing with their cell phones or talking to you about their winery where they work and come visit us and all that. But they're not the winemakers. And that's a totally different feel from my perspective than being able to talk to the baker of this cupcake that I just had, because he or she is as you said, a citizen baker and also their serving. And that was kind of a special aspect, let's call it, from my perspective, of the whole event. And I just needed to get that off my chest and share that to do away with that, what you called citizen bakers altogether, in favor of very generous, and I'm not putting down their contributions, but businesses who are going to send hired hands to pass out their goodies, it just felt a lot different to me. And so I hope that I'm understanding you correctly, and that it'll be a mixture of the businesses, including those who may have had something to do with the actual baking or distilling or aging or whatever of the product, and our citizen bakers who have been, pretty much the name of the game for many, many years. So there we go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I believe the email I got was from Rebecca,
Okay, Rebecca. Okay, thank you for that. Mhm.
referred to as one of the volunteers from the board,
Yes.
the Friends Board, for the chocolate portion of the whole event, as opposed to music or auction items or something.
Mhm.
So anyhow, I'm pretty sure that's from whom I got it.
Thank you.
If I'm wrong, I'll let you know, but I'll look it up when I get home tonight.
Marcia, you're next.
No, I just had a question. There's a book sale this Saturday, right?
Yes, there is a book sale this Saturday.
Okay, and that's at the library. Thanks.
Jen,
That's it.
Jenny? Well, my only comment is I'm ready with the fountain. It works great. And I'm looking forward to this. To see you all there.
Thank you so much.
Not Jenny, Jennifer and I have already contributed our Prosecco. Anybody else who wants to is welcome to. And we'll see you there.
I haven't done mine.
Marcia's first too, okay.
Yeah, you guys are all great at that. Thank you. And feel free to please reach out to me if you have any other questions or ideas or feedback. We appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
We should-
Any public comments? Is anybody on?
If there's anyone that would like to make a public comment, we ask that you raise your Zoom hand. And there is.
No, nobody there, right? Okay, but thanks, Ali.
Thank
You can stay if you want. We can-
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Okay, consent agenda, we have approval of minutes and informational reports. Public library and museum director activity. Oh, before we go on, by the way, Ali mentioned something about this book sale thing. Do you have any update on that you want to give, Brian?
Just in terms of the space that we have, you mean,
What's happening with it?
right, so we're going to be scheduling a meeting with some of the friends and foundation that have their ideas
Mhm.
regarding a space, which is that they're interested in having another community space or a larger space for book
Mhm.
sale. That meeting has not happened yet, and one of the things about it is that what they're looking at is they get a lot more donations than we're getting book sales, right?
Yes.
And sales coming in. So they've limited the number of the types of books that we are accepting because there are certain types of books, fiction, mystery, children's books that will actually sell.
Mhm.
And we sell those actively in the lobby, but we get so many boxes of people offloading. And the thought is is there a space in the community for this? What kind of other space? And on the library side, space is also at a premium, as you see in our facility plan, right? Which is basically there's more need for library spaces as well as other spaces in there for us. So we have to balance that. So I'm waiting to hear from the Friends and Foundation what they would like to propose. The basement where we donate books is not an accessible space. So we cannot offer that as a bookstore because you have to go down a set of stairs. There's a low hanging, if you've been under like, what do you call it? Pipes and different things in there. So it's just not a good space to have people
Right.
regularly access. So I'll come back once we get more insight and communication with the Friends and Foundation about what their needs are.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Consent agenda. So On the consent agenda, we have approval of minutes and the informational reports. Any comments from anyone? Go ahead, Bob.
Quick question. In the, I think Director's Activity Report, reference is made to the bookmobile being in nearby, but not quite ready for use. And I was just wondering if we had an idea when it would actually hit the road.
Possibly March and maybe a little earlier, but we're looking at putting together some kind of launch and program. And Kim and I have touched on that with Mary, who's our bookmobile services coordinator. But look forward to some kind of event where we just found the parking lot. We're starting to load up, put together a procedures manual. We have to get all of the tags, for the DMV, getting all of those kind of things done before we can start regularly driving.
I think we should have an event and kind of like launching a ship. Where you crash a bottle against it. I don't know about crashing a bottle, but maybe popping a balloon against it. It's, similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then have it pull out on a route.
Yeah. We were, it was-
Water balloon with a 2-buck chuck.
And I also want to ask, Brian, in your report, there was something about the CBS show 48 Hours in Monterey.
yes,
Next month, that means it's going to be on in February.
it's what we've been told. We were basically, it was actually a great thing. I was working over basically next door over at the Gordon House, cleaning up from for our museum space. And I got a text and a phone call from the staff saying CBS is here and they want to film in the library right now. And what it was is that they have a CBS mornings show with Gayle King and different hosts. And what they're doing is they send a producer to a city and say, you have 48 hours. So it's not like 48 hours like the murder mystery show. It's 48 hours to spend in it of a bit in there. You have 48 hours in the city, talk to the locals about what to see. And they were in a store and somebody said, check out the California History Room. So they just, the CBS, the reporter came by with their crew and they said, can we see the California History Room? So Andres and I went in there and I said, we actually have about an hour of good light if you want to see Colton Hall.
Yeah.
Because, this is really a historic building. It'd be fantastic to just walk over there. So we walked over to Colton Hall. We did a bit over there. So hopefully it all gets included, but I know we did filming at Colton Hall, then walked to the library, went into the California History Room. And they just reached out to Andres and I earlier today for some access to some historic photos as well for some licensing. So we've got that in progress. So we don't know the exact date, but it should be one of the morning shows. And if we get a clip of that, be happy to share it out.
And I assume they will notify you in advance that the Monterey show is going to be on whatever, February 10th or something.
Don't know.
Okay, well, if you find out in advance of it, send us a
Absolutely.
quick email or
Absolutely.
text.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Anyone else?
I'll offer a motion for approval.
Well, no, I have a comment, so let me.
Okay. I just had one other question, and that I love this grant for Colton Hall for historic preservation
Mhm.
for the climate resilience. Do you know when you find out about that? With the
Great question. That's and National Park Service, it's a federal through grants.gov. You'll probably find that out and look it up real quick.
So it's already the proposal's already in. I assume.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Save America's Treasures. Let me see if they got that. I can look that up real quick. Let me see if they have the grant timeline on there. I will see. Apologies for the delay. And I will say while I'm looking at that, so one of the fact sheet 2023, let's see if we've got on the fact sheet they do not say on the fact sheet when they're actually going to approve the funding. They just had a deadline for submittals, but they didn't have the approval. I will say one of the good things about this, I might put in there that there was a NCIP project for repointing in Colton Hall. And what repointing means is that the mortar on Colton Hall, which was redone in the 1970s, when they redid it, they used these metal nails, they used a Portland cement, and the cement is stronger than the stone. So what happens is when you have heavy rains, the water soaks into either the stone or the ground.
Mm,
Now, the old jail uses stone from Point Lobos, so it's a very heavy granite, and it doesn't have the same issues. But the Colton Hall uses the Monterey, like a very low, like a local Monterey shale, kind of a stone, which is on the wall around here, which you see is very soft. And so when it gets into that Portland cement and the water comes in there and it soaks up, if there's not enough drainage around the edge on the lower sides, it expands and it cracks. So it actually cracks the original stone. So if you walk around the edge of the building. So the thought is to go in there to actually take out the mortar on specific areas which get a higher concentration of rain and water, and then possibly look at a study for drainage around the building.
Mhm.
Because if you go to the jail area is actually below ground too, so there's a lot of moisture in that area. And paint some of the exposed wood. So it was just basically, we have some NCIP funds, but I felt that if we could support it with federal matching one-to-one dollar grants, that perhaps we could do more of a longer term study about what we can do for the preserving the building a longer stance and working on some of the wood that is exposed on.
I did have
Go ahead, Janie.
one quick question about the Monterey walking tour. How is that app available through the App Store or?
Yeah,
from
through
the-
iOS and Android right now.
Right.
It's available. And
And it's just called Monterey Walking.
yeah, Monterey Walking Tour, and you will find I added content for, public art, El Encinal Cemetery, and Path of History was added by one of our volunteers. So she has kind of completed a lot of that. But the plan is, once we get our expanded Path of History, to add that. And also I've been in touch with the Fisherman's Wharf Association, their board, about possibly adding a Fisherman's Wharf, like historic tour, like working with folks about the history of a lot of the buildings there on the wharf. So I think we just still want to build up the content on there, and we have our older audio tour, but yeah, you could, we do have to go back at some point to update all of the signs around the area because it was previously done through a different company. So all of the links that are on there are out of date. So the signs on a lot of these buildings are really out of date. So that's a process that I'm hoping. We have our service learner fair with CSUMB this Monday. And for example, the entire cemetery tour, I gave to a service learner from CSUMB. I gave her all the data, worked directly with her, and she did the entire content for that. So it's another great opportunity for us to use service learners to add and build up that stuff.
I have a couple of them, both on page 9. In the second bullet, it says grant would support the efforts of repointing. Is that meant to be repainting? Is it a typo?
No, repointing was what I was talking about. That actually means the grout.
Okay, so there is a difference.
Yeah. Mhm.
The second was in the last bullet. Francesca's name is a typo there. That needs to be correct.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Motion to approve minutes and the,
I'll second.
any, all in favor? Yes? Any opposed? Okay, accepted.
Hey,
Oh, dear Baldy, yeah.
Next. Okay,
public comment.
general public comments. Anybody there? There now?
If anyone would like to make a public comment, please raise your Zoom hand. There are no public comments, Chair Doji.
Nobody there. Hey, trustee comments. We'll start from left this time. Marcia?
I'm gonna see, Janie and I have comments that match each other, so I
Okay.
cede mine to Janie and then I'll go after her. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
where'd you start?
Thanks. Yeah, I just wanted to fill you guys in on the advocacy
Speaking of, like,
efforts. Oh, Mike. Some of which you know and some of which you don't, we met in November with Brian, Marcia and I, do some brainstorming and came up with ideas about what message do we want to send, what strategies we want to use, and what are our basic needs. And then at last month's meeting of this board, we had a discussion, but Nat was there to convey the city perspective. And Brian may have some more information about what's coming up about the budget. Then Marcia and I went to a Friends and Foundation meeting by Zoom and tried to see if any of them were interested in this program or efforts. And we got two great volunteers, Doug Holtzman and Jerry Giamona. So the four of us met with Brian last week and then also yesterday. And so Marcia will tell you what's been going on and what we're planning or hoping to do.
Yeah, so we're talking to the Friends about a long-term advocacy strategies. But in the meantime, we all felt there are two things that came out of this we felt pretty clearly about. One of them is we feel that the best way to serve the community is to start opening on Mondays, because we have all these kids from high school coming down. They have nowhere to go. They have nothing to do. They can't do their research. They can't do their homework. And this is a taxpayer supported institution that isn't open on Mondays. So we all thought that the first thing we really ought to be talking about is opening on Monday. The second thing that emerged from this and actually came from a little discussion I had, an informal discussion I had with the mayor last night, is that we are long overdue for a city council report on the library. The last one, Bob will remember, was when we did the facility report. We haven't talked to the city council at all about the library, about what we're about, but what we do, about where we were, where we need to be. And the sense I got from the mayor is that they really would like us to do that, that they are encouraged us to do it. They said, please do it. We want it. We need it. Do this. And so our suggestion was that we couple it with the National Library Month, which is in April, that we asked to be on the city council agenda. And with that, we deliver a report. We all come to the meeting, as many of us as can, attend the city council meeting, the Friends and Foundation attend the city council meeting. And the first challenge is to get the library open on Mondays. And that's kind of what we spoke of. So that's my public comment. So anyway, if we decide to do this report, probably at the March meeting, we should have it here. So we all can have input on the report to then bring to the city council in April.
Okay.
And again, it's a report on the state of the library. What we do, we have a new city council.
Yes.
They don't know much about the library. So it's the state of the library. It's where we are and where we need to be.
So whom are you working with, Marcia?
Pardon me?
Do we need an ad hoc committee for that? Who's leading the effort?
Maybe you want to have an ad hoc committee to sort of draft up, something for this. I don't know.
To help with that, whatever way I can.
That would be,
So,
I would think that would come out of the discussion you said we would have in March. But depending on which city council meeting, how early in April are we talking? The first one or the end of the month one?
First one.
Well, what was the National Library Week is like Janie, we said early,
It's like
April
the
7th to 11th or
Yeah.
something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
So
So
that's
probably the
a
first.
possibility.
Mhm.
I think it probably depends on their agenda and how much space they have. I think we have to request to
Mhm.
be on the agenda. So we, email the city clerk and ask to be on the agenda and
Speaking of that, I think call this the big presentation, I think is a great idea. And the more people from this board and the Friends Board that are there, even if they're not talking, even if they're a bunch, most of us don't talk, they're just 2 or 3 or something. So at some time, I don't know, it was with one of you over a glass of wine somewhere or in a meeting like this or where we talked about how beneficial, and I think this was in response to something that one of the council members, city council members had said that we have a regular, and I mean every single meeting, we take turns. That's once every 5 months. It would be my turn and everybody's turn, right? But we grab, even if it's in the beginning where it's only, 180 seconds, you get 3 minutes, right? But even if it's like that, but we have something to say about the library every single meeting. One of us does that and does not hesitate to say, I'm saying this on behalf of the whole board.
Mhm.
I don't have to say, I'm Bob Petty, I'm just a resident of Monterey and this is what I think, but we agree that one of us will take turns and one of us will be at every single meeting. If nothing, if we don't have a slot, we at least can grab the 3-minute, one of the 3-minute timing. So every single meeting, they got the library coming up.
Right.
In addition to the bigger event in National Library Week.
And we
I
could-
think we said that somewhere,
Mhm.
and I really would push for that.
Yeah, okay, so if I may just add to what I had been saying before, I think it's a good idea and maybe we launch it by doing the state of the library because it's hard to do one little, we support the library. Oh, we don't know anything about the library. So maybe we do that. Secondly,
Is
the
that- I think
group,
the single person should come at the last meeting of March and let them know that coming up, that the city council members know that coming up is this bigger state of the library report that is an actual agenda item. I think it gives them a little, whet their appetite kind of thing.
so another thing that this advocacy group has decided to do, and much of it is being done by the Friends, is we're gathering quotes from notable people in Monterey about what the library means to you.
Mhm.
And part of what we thought we were going to do is at the Wine and Chocolate, have a little booth with a little camera to come on and tell us what the library means to you. And of course, we will start with people like the principal of Monterey High School, ask people to either write little things or to make a little video. And this will be part of the presentation. So we're going to collect that information so that we can insert it into the presentation.
If I may interrupt, this is not on the agenda, so we can't talk about it next.
Right.
We'll put it on the agenda, then we can discuss it.
Right. So that was just my public comment, my
Your staff
My
comment.
trustee
Okay, trustee
comment.
comment, all right.
I'm gonna stop talking now. Sorry,
It seemed to be becoming a discussion, so,
turning off my mic.
uh-oh, all right. Jen?
Nothing other than I would like to help in whatever way I can on that.
Mhm.
I have, as a preliminary, determined the new city council member who lives in my neighborhood, and I have all his
Great.
contact information. So Janie, maybe one day we'll do some baking and make an appointment,
Yeah.
trot on over.
There we go.
Yeah.
Who is that?
That's all I've got.
Who is that?
His name is Gino Garcia. Yeah.
And he's replacing Hopper?
They went to the different districts and he's in the new district over there.
Oh, he's one of the new districts that's
Yeah.
coming up. Because I saw a Hoffa for supervisor sign on somebody's yard,
Yes, he's
which
running.
makes me think he's not going to be a city council.
Well, if it gets
Member.
it.
Oh, okay.
But that's all I've got.
Oh, I would just mention, because everybody else is, except for Harish going less very politely. At the end of our last meeting, I was cited as having said, when we were doing this in December, that I was looking forward to new revenue solutions in the upcoming year. And some of the data that we accepted in the consent agenda tonight shows that things like main library visits, attendance, programs, reference questions are all higher in 2023 than the preceding comparison year of 2022. And when we ask for more money, we need to justify it. And to me, that's ample justification, whether you're going to use the extra money to open on Monday, increase staff, increase hours on 6 days a week, whatever. That kind of data that proves that the library has sort of made the turn and is worthy, let's say. And I just wanted to point that out. Thank you, and happy February.
Happy leap year. I'd mentioned this thing that we talked about, the talking points. I brought that up with Brian, that we should come up with a list of talks, so we don't end up saying the same thing. I'll give you the cheat sheet to say, you'll talk about this, you'll talk about that, and that way we have a on the topic, but not repeating ourselves. So we'll work on that. What's left?
Nothing.
Staff.
Is that it? Or anything else?
Well, I just had a question for
Sure.
Brian. He had mentioned that maybe next month would be a good time to start talking about the budget, because the meetings are coming up.
Yeah, so as we're looking at, I believe the city is looking at a budget survey coming out soon, as well as at the last meeting here, Nat talked about public meetings. I have offered the library as a potential site. I know they're looking at a couple different sites possibly for in-person budget sessions, so we'll see where those land. But the thought is that we start working early on budget priorities with the Board of Library Trustees. So maybe in the February meeting, coming back with a another looking at the benchmark data the city looked at years back and looking at the other libraries and doing a report on the benchmark libraries from before and how we are now, and coming back and doing a benchmark report and then coming up and having a discussion with the board priorities for the budget, is then having that on the agenda for next month would be good for the board to start setting what are those things so that we can start putting those into your talking points in discussion.
Staff comments? Anything? Everything going well at the library? I see
Everything's
that
going
the
great.
self-checkouts has increased quite a bit.
Yeah, I think
The new machines and the
Love
signage,
Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're bright and it's welcoming. It's very nicely done.
and they changed their theme for the season, so we appreciate that. I appreciate all of the staff and the hard work, and hopefully you guys sign up for the newsletters for all the new services and programs that we have coming up. Looking forward to when we have our staff reports, because I think our staff are just doing a phenomenal job, and I appreciate that we hired our new teen librarian coming in, and that was great to have her in there as well. But it's just, having a warm and inviting place and having staff that enjoy being around each other and love the community. I think it's just really makes a difference for everybody. So I appreciate working with everybody there.
And will some staff will be at chocolate and wine? Or
Not sure. I've talked with the Friends and Foundation, and Kim and I were discussing activities earlier today too, but we'll have a list of what I would like. I always have my wishes, my dreams.
But that is all on the agenda. So motion to adjourn,
Second.
adjourned.